Hey, good Wednesday to you. I'm Storm Team 9 Meteorologist Patrick Ellis here with your ENC Weather update for this October the 2nd, 2013. We had another gorgeous day across eastern North Carolina, though hot. I mean, we've been in 70s for 3 weeks, and now all of a sudden the 80s want to come back and say, hey, like they just didn't, they just couldn't go away, so they had to come back and say hey to us one last time, hopefully one last time. But it does look like in our 7-day forecast we're going to be talking about temperatures in the 80s the next several days, compared to what we were talking about this weekend. This past update on Sunday, we were talking about at least the cooler temperatures getting back here by this upcoming Monday, but it doesn't look like the system that we were waiting for is going to necessarily get to us the way it was apparently going to get to us as we went through the weekend. So we'll update you on that and a look ahead. A lot of things going on, a lot of factors in the forecast that could make or break it. So we'll get into that here in the update video. Here's a look at temperatures this evening. We're doing this update at 6:35. Most areas into the low 80s and middle and upper 70s. At this point, we're at 82 at Greenville, 78 for Emerald Isle, 82 at Richlands, 83 for Goldsboro, 81 for Raleigh, 82 for Wilson as well as Edenton. Nice 75 at Manio, and 77 degrees up in Hosky up there in Hertford County. So overall, not too bad. But temperatures this afternoon, we were up into the 80s. For most areas, I think most areas were able to at least get to the 80-degree mark, and most inland spots into the middle 80s. New Bern, I know, as high as 87 as far as I saw today. So it was a very warm day here across eastern North Carolina. Let's take you through the precision forecast model in the near term and get you through the next couple of days, next 24 hours or so. And let me tell you, nothing really doing for us. We're going to be dry. We're going to be hot. Going through the overnight hours tonight, temperatures will fall back mainly into the 60s. A couple upper 50s as you head further to the north, maybe north of US 64, up towards, say, Rich Square, Ahoskie, out towards Drew, and also out towards Hollister. Infield, maybe up into the upper 50s this evening. You see Roanoke Rapids checking into 59 degrees. 64 in the Greenville Metro. I think that may be a little bit warm, but overall expect the temperatures to be right around that 60-degree mark for most areas, right along the beaches, likely middle and upper, right around the middle and possibly upper 60s, right along the immediate beaches tomorrow morning. Now tomorrow afternoon, it's going to get hot once again. We'll top out middle 80s with a mostly sunny to partly cloudy sky through the afternoon hours. Temperatures inland mid-80s along the coast, upper 70s, lower 80s. But overall, expect it to be a warmer day than what we've seen the last several days. And you can see the clouds kind of meandering around through the afternoon, but no rain showers falling out of them as we look at that look. All right, down to the tropics, and we've been kind of hinting at this since Saturday. This is the same system that we were watching down into the Caribbean Sea on Saturday. It had a 10% chance for development, now up to a 70% chance for development. And the hurricane hunters went out there today at 2 o'clock. I do not believe, I think they did come back, but they did not say that this is a tropical system, but it does look fairly stout at this point. Some of the higher tops, some of the the warmer colors there, some of the higher tops of that right around the center of low pressure. So it's starting to get better organized, and the computer models are all bringing the center. Now this is looking for the center of low pressure, not necessarily the effects of how wide the storm would be. The center of low pressure, anywhere from just to the west of Pascagoula, Mississippi, Mobile, Alabama. We're talking Destin, Florida, potentially, Apalachicola, and over towards the Big Bend. So overall, there is a general consensus of the models, and they have shifted a little further to the east comparative to where they were, say, 24 hours ago. They were a little bit further, more clustered around Mobile and Biloxi Gulfport. At this point, they're all trending a little further to the east. And in the long range, that center of low pressure, most of the models have it coming up towards North Carolina. So it's something that we're obviously going to watch over the next couple of days. And most of the intensity models now, I'll tell you this, two things. The intensity models and these tropical tracks they all come from the same models, but the problem is that they don't do well until a system is formed. So once the system has formed, or in some instances not formed, we'll have a better idea of where it's going to go. But as far as the consensus right now with the models, it's showing it basically coming up towards the central Gulf Coast, and then riding up the Appalachian chain as we head in towards next week, the early portions of next week. So just to give you an idea, we'll look inside the forecast real quick. Here's the low pressure down here to the south. Another one, our cold front, that's going to be making its way off towards the east. A lot of this air, we were thinking that this would get in here by Monday or so. Now it doesn't look like that's going to be the case, and to be honest with you, most of this cooler air, you see that cool air plunging as far south as central Texas. So that's some cool stuff, and they're talking about snow in South Dakota and Nebraska. There's winter weather advisories, winter weather watches in effect right now in northwest of Nebraska. So to give you an idea, there's some cold air behind this. The problem is that most of the computer models lift all that cold air up and away from eastern North Carolina. So that gets the bulk of the cold air away from us, actually. We may have a couple of cooler days, but at this point, it doesn't look like we're going to go much lower than maybe the upper 70s to low 80s. And that's going past the 7-day period. That tropical low pressure system, if it stays on the same track that it is on right now with the BAMS model, it would be very similar to the GFS track. So that's something that we're going to have to watch, obviously, over the next couple of days, because that could bring us heavy rainfall. But the frontal boundary approaching us will also enhance rainfall as well. So there's a lot of things going on here, and they all could meld up together, or they could very well just fall apart. That's something that we're obviously thinking, but for the time being, it's something that we're going to continue to watch. The tropical low, whether it's got a name or not, if you have family down Mississippi, Alabama, Florida, tell them probably going to be raining, and on top of that, cold front approaching them from the west, so it's going to be a double whammy with that, and for us, the same thing possibly. So we're going to continue to watch it over the next couple of days. Tropical Storm Jerry still out into the Atlantic Ocean, just barely holding on. 29.3 north, 42.6 west. Winds 40 miles per hour, moving to the northeast at 7 miles per hour, and the track takes it into the cooler Atlantic waters, and basically it is over. Jerry will be done by about Sunday this time, so we won't be dealing with that very much longer. High pressure and control of our weather pattern in the next couple of days. You will likely not see very many clouds in the skies, and you see that tropical low pressure system coming up towards Apalachicola, so we'll watch that, and then your cold front to the west, and you can even start to see South Dakota and western portions of Nebraska, some of that cold air wrapping around, and there you got your snow already starting to fall, even into the early portions of October. And we'll look at the 7-day forecast here, and we're going to stay warm. And when I say warm, we're going to stay in the middle 80s the next several days until probably about Monday when the frontal boundary approaches us. Now, we'll say this again. The modeling is not very good right now on what's going to happen. The European model has the frontal boundary basically stalling to our west, and we don't really get very much rain. The GFS has the low pressure system coming up towards Apalachicola, Florida, comes across us, and we see and we could see some substantial rainfall, and on top of that, the potential for severe weather. And then the frontal boundary basically lays itself across the same area, and we still get chances for rain. So at this point, anything past, say, Sunday is an up-in-the-air forecast. So we'll say out to day 4 we're good, but 5, 6, and 7 still up in the air as far as what does that tropical low do? What does the cold front do? Will we get the cooler air in here? There's a lot of factors to go into the forecast, but like I said, up to about Sunday, so the weekend now looking good comparative to this past weekend when we were talking about rain shower activity. Now it's been pushed back to Monday, Tuesday, and I think we're starting to get into more so a better idea now. It's kind of locked in a little better on the potential for Monday and Tuesday rather than Saturday, Sunday. At any rate, we're still going to be watching to see the evolution of this forecast. Stay up to date with us on Facebook as well as Twitter and on WNCT.com. Next update here will be by tomorrow afternoon. Chief Meteorologist David Sawyer in this evening at 10 o'clock on the CW and 11 o'clock right back on WNCT. Dante Jones, and tomorrow morning from 5 to 7 on Morning Edition. You have a great rest of your evening and a great weather week.